Wild Hearts latches onto the familiar gameplay loop of Monster Hunter and infuses it with a fast-paced crafting system that lets you build your way to victory. You only need to glance at Wild Hearts for a moment to see the similarities it shares with Capcom's Monster Hunter series. Both games are about exploring large, open areas either alone or with other players to find and defeat giant monsters, then harvesting and using their parts to craft better weapons and armor. Developer Omega Force has explored the genre before with the Toukiden series. And those two games represent perhaps the best examples of the monster hunting genre outside of Capcom's own influential bestsellers. With Wild Hearts, Omega Force hasn't just set out to create a simple imitation, though. Sure, it has plenty of familiar elements, but the novel Karakuri system gives the game a unique identity that sets it apart from its contemporaries. In the fiction of Wild Hearts, Karakuri is an ancient technology used by hunters to conjure impressive pieces of technology out of thin air. In action, it's a fast-paced crafting system that serves multiple functions, opening up your available options both in and out of combat. You start with what are known as basic Karakuri, the first of which lets you produce a wooden crate that launches you into the air when you climb on top of it. You can stack up to 3 of these crates at once to generate extra height, which proves useful when exploring the environment but really comes into its own when fighting Wild Hearts' various monsters, known as kimono. You can launch from these crates and transition into a devastating downward strike, or utilize the added elevation to quickly avoid an area of effect attack that spews out a pool of lava or poisonous clouds. Most Karakuri serve a dual purpose such as this, whether it's a springboard that proves useful in dodging attacks and propelling you toward kimono, or a glider that allows you to traverse large gaps and position yourself above monsters for an aerial barrage. Erecting these Karakuri is quick and simple, so it doesn't take long before you're integrating the various devices into each combat encounter. Constructing a crate, springboard, or torch in the heat of battle eventually becomes second nature. And being able to do so is just as essential to each battle as knowing how to use your specific weapon of choice. Later on, you also unlock various fusion Karakuri, which use different combinations of basic Karakuri to create larger, more elaborate contraptions. Stacking 9 crates together in 3 rows, for instance, produces a rock-solid wall that can block incoming projectiles or halt a charging kimono in its tracks, launching the beast into the air before leaving it in a vulnerable heap on the ground. You can also summon gigantic bouncing hammers, powerful bombs, and blinding firework cannons that can knock flying enemies out of the sky. There's something immensely satisfying about creating an apparatus out of thin air and using it to gain an advantage over a 20-foot-tall monster. Yet the presence of these multifaceted tools doesn't dilute the tension that's inherent to the genre. Each one costs a specific resource to build called Celestial Thread. If you run out, you can find more by hacking down trees and rocks, or by extracting chunks of it by targeting weak spots on a kimono's body. This ensures that you need to think strategically and consider when and how to use Karakuri. But it also offers extra encouragement to play with other people because you can pool all of your individual resources together. You might build a wall to protect a teammate who's stunned, all leap from the same structure to deliver 3 consecutive aerial attacks, or help someone finish building a mechanism after they've run out of Celestial Thread. There are numerous ways to play cooperatively, and it's a fairly simple process, whether you're aiming to party up with friends or join a couple of strangers. You can search for other sessions that are tackling specific hunts, join a fellow hunter in need, ask for assistance yourself, or create your own party. And the inclusion of crossplay also makes it that much easier to group up with others. You have the opportunity to revive each other, too, which makes Wild Hearts multiplayer more approachable than Monster Hunters. Everyone still shares the same pool of 3 lives, but you're less likely to die if someone else is around to help you back up.